Okay. Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to be talking about something that I know is a bit different compared to what we usually talk about here, but I feel like it's something that we all really need to talk about going on with what's going on with the game industry and just all of the layoffs that are going on. And just really, how do we support each other right now? Before we get started, I'm going to give a quick introduction to myself. I'm Kimberly, Dann, and actually my story is a bit unique. I started in human resources, which I know is a bit ironic that I'm giving this presentation, but I've always been into game production and working in the game industry, and that's exactly what I'm pursuing right now. But it hasn't always been that seamless. I got laid off not once, not twice, but 3 different times. Organizational restructuring is really fun. Okay, to kick things off, I would like to ask everyone, have you or someone you know ever been laid off? Please put your hand up. Oh gosh. Okay, keep your hand up and look at everyone else, look around the room. There are a credible amount of people. And this is really important that we all come together and say that because it gives a great visual of how we are all being impacted right now. And it is really life-changing. If you have not been following Amir Safat on LinkedIn, I highly recommend you do that, but he and his community have been putting together some amazing numbers of what has been happening for the past 2 years. Over 33,000 roles have been lost from 2022 to 2024. There's been an average duration of unemployment or underemployment for 257 days. 45% have been unemployed or underemployed for over 1 year. So when you get laid off, it might feel completely personal, but know that it's not just Vancouver, it's not just yourself. There are so many people being impacted around the world. So why should we be talking about this? You might be asking this from the beginning. We're not at a job fair, we're indie developers. But it's really important, and especially with this community. There are so many people here that are incredible. There's so much value, and even though studios are closing down, that's not going to be taking away all of these incredible people. Like, games are going to be continuing to get developed, and that is why we need to really be holding on to that and being strong together as a community. And this is an invisible struggle. Some people may not feel comfortable talking about that because it's something that is really personal and very hard to go through. And there is no course for navigating layoffs. We get told in school or in our job or like friends and family how to apply to jobs, but what do you do after that job application? There's so much more to life than just that. And we have to live with this uncertainty. I don't know if I'm going to get a job tomorrow, next month, next year. It's really difficult, and we all have to live with that whether we like it or not. Something that's really common that is going through burnout. That's something when you might feel completely tired, things are very difficult, and because you're going through a major transition. So what does burnout look like? First off, with mental health, just like your job status, you're feeling emotionally unstable. And some days you might be feeling super happy, some days you might be feeling really sad. It's really unpredictable. And identity crisis, do you identify with yourself with your previous job? Do you identify with a job that you would like to get? Do you just identify with being unemployed? And social isolation / avoidance. You're taken away from the core source of social communication each day, and social interactions can become even difficult, like super challenging, and people might be wanting to avoid it altogether. And feeling doubt. With being unemployed, you might be starting to doubt your own skills. You're not having that same employer where you're developing your skills each day. It's up to you now, and that can be very challenging. And not just mental health, there's also physical health. You might be, if you don't have that sleep schedule, you might be up until 4 a.m. and you might be really tired all the time because you don't have that same structure that you usually did. And there's lack of nutrition. Some people might not have that luxury of affording the same meals that they usually can, and that could really lead to some really bad health issues. And if you're like myself, we rely on medication, and you need that to keep living, and some medication can cost a lot. And you're not just tackling physical health or mental health, you're tackling both at the same time, and that can evolve into so many different issues. So let's go into strategies. I will not like to just end off this presentation with all of this sadness, so let's go into the prevention part. Starting off with giving compassion. You're going through so much right now, and it's really important that you take that time to really give yourself the care that you need and understand your feelings. You're going through so much right now, so give that time to yourself to really pay attention to yourself. There's so many things you can do, therapy, talking to loved ones, and I put together this document going into more detail of what I found very helpful, and building your social network. You're all here today, that's amazing, and you're building a support group slowly but surely. And giving yourself structure and getting creative. Since so many people are creative here, we can talk, it's not a one-size-fits-all on how we do structure. So ways to structure your life. I like to think about it as cosplaying as if you have steady employment. And there is no one size that fits all. These are all things that I found helpful myself, starting off with creating a weekly backlog and daily checklist. As I'm into project management, I love to organize things. And waking up and going to bed around the same time. I know that it might not feel ideal, like you get to stay up until 4 a.m. some days, but it will really pay off later down the road. Registering for events, webinars, or volunteering, those can really get yourself out the door and start to feel connected with the community. And don't forget about weekends. I've been needing to remind myself that a lot lately because I don't have that same Saturday and Sunday as other people, and I can easily start to just think about jobs and how to apply to them 7 days a week, but I need that time for myself to just do things that I purely enjoy. So going into learning new skills in your daily life, I have been trying to learn about game production, and I also love cosplay. So I've been trying to figure out how do I address this problem where I do not sleep much the days before the convention, and often I don't get any sleep at all and it's really bad. So I've tried to make a Gantt chart for myself. So that actually helped me figure out when do I need to start preparing in advance? When do I need to actually start working on this? Not just a month before, but 2 months at least before. And I've actually managed to get sleep before the day of the convention, and it was very nice. Thank you so much. Okay. Before I end things off, since we're all at a networking event, and I know introverts like myself, it can be very challenging to approach new people. But I would like to challenge you to speak to someone new and ask, what do you do that brings you joy? The response can be, I'm currently working on this project, I've been enjoying this TV show or video game, or here's a photo of my cat. By doing this, you're bringing that positivity and energy and being a bit contagious because you're talking about something that brings light to you, and that can inspire someone else. And I know, especially right now, we need a lot of hope in the community, and by doing small things like that, that can really change someone's world. And if you want an example, these are things that are making me very happy. I'm playing Baldur's Gate and Sky. I love green milk tea from Haiti. And there are my 4 cats. Thank you. Okay. And just one last thing. I wish I could promise that the economy and everything will get better and that in a few days we're all going to get this amazing, perfect job, but just like anybody, I can't guarantee that. But I know that we all have our unique value and we all have something to bring to this world, and an employer can't take that away from you. So don't lose hope.
Kim, questions?
Oh, right. Questions? Besides volunteering. Yes.
How long did it take you to set up the chart that you made for?
I mean, it's been a few times since I've had so many iterations of that chart. I think that was like my fourth attempt at making a Gantt chart that worked, but it's always been helpful in some kind of way, but I think it takes a few hours, but it's really worth it. I spent a couple hundred hours at my last convention. It was rough, but I saved time. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have any daily routine?
Sorry?
Daily routine?
Ooh, daily routines. Are we purely fun or like structure? Okay. I always like to have my daily checklist because I try to create my backlog, and some things I try to focus on a lot of like iterative or like small habits. So reading a book is something that I'm trying to be more consistent with. So I always have that, and learning Japanese is something, and just like checking the job board, and yeah, I always try to like make sure that I don't spend too long on it, and just like using my Google Calendar. I don't know if that helps, but yeah, it's my routine. Yes.
Do you have any advice for like when you fall out of like a good routine or habit, like how to get back on track to that?
Yeah, I think that goes on a case-by-case basis, because it would also be the question of like, why did you fall out of that routine? But setting a routine, I find, is like doing the smallest steps. So if you're wanting to, say, like start applying to jobs more consistently, and you've gone from like doing absolutely nothing each week, I would start doing something small, like 1 day a week, 2 times a week, and just trying to make sure that the goals and targets that you have are super simple and easy. And it might seem like you're not really doing much at the moment, but it will gradually build up over time, and it will make things really easy and just like second nature. Any more questions? Thank you so much.